Please, leave me be.
Much as I am loath to disturb Ericthonios so soon after what just occurred, I am afraid circumstances do not afford us the luxury of time. Perhaps it will do him well to speak about recent events concerning both the keyword and his father. He seemed reticent to say aught concerning Le Havre when the subject was broached. Doubtless his relationship with his father is a fraught one.
The creation of the ward, which surrounds Pandaemonium, was an astounding feat of magical prowess. A feat accomplished by none other than Le Havre. That both my father and I can bind others in chains is perhaps the only thing that we have in common.
Ah, so it is true.
I'm Le Havre's son. Bereft of his talent for magics or his brilliant mind, but his son nonetheless. Surely this doesn't come entirely as a surprise to you?
Nay. I had an inkling when you said you had practiced ethereal shackles since childhood. Assuming you haven't been employed here quite that long, it had to indicate some long-held connection with Le Havre.
'Twas Le Havre that taught me how to cast ethereal shackles, but that was it. My further education was overseen by the words of Le Havre, more specifically my mother, who was a researcher there.
You did speak of Athena, chief keyword before Le Havre. She is your mother, yes.
How astute. I can see now why you were chosen to lead this investigation. You've the right of it. Athena was my mother, and it was she who invited me to join her here. Le Havre had nothing to do with it.
I see there is little love lost between you two. What I cannot see is why Le Havre was appointed chief keyword when another was already in place.
Was in place. My mother is no longer with us. And Le Havre was all too eager to assume her responsibilities, with nary a moment spared to mourn her. What love do I owe him now, when he offered not one drop of compassion then?
Ah, I see. She is no longer with us. An expression to convey the end of a life. I have known only the public face of Le Havre. While he is lauded for his ability to maintain composure in the face of unnerving circumstances, I must admit that oft he comes across as cold.
Apologies, but can we speak of something else? This topic isn't an easy one for me to discuss.
Of course. There are more pressing matters at hand, after all. Namely, how to deal with Hesperos. We have yet to see the other warders. Judging by what we know, we can surmise that Hesperos has confined them somewhere beyond our grasp. And now that he is aware of our presence, he will be preparing for our next encounter. We cannot expect to face him on equal footing. Quite the opposite, in fact. Every moment we spend chasing after the creations is another moment Hesperos can contrive another advantage for himself. The wisest course would be to find him first and foremost.
He said that he has become one with the creations. Perhaps that means he is vulnerable to interment.
In theory, that should be possible. However, is it enough merely to confine him? After all he has done?
I need to know why. I need to know what drove him to forsake everything he's worked for. Was it all truly so that he could serve his master? To my mind, he's merely put La Habria's own work at risk in trade for some nebulous power. La Habria is the chief keyword of Pandaemonium. How would throwing it into disarray win his favor? It doesn't make any sense.
I share your curiosity, but we must consider that our enemy has us at a disadvantage in every sense. What do you think? Should we seek to put him in fetters, or would it be too dangerous to allow him quarter? Daring as ever, I see. I know not which trials you have faced in your past, but to see you so certain is all the convincing I need. Very well, let us try Erichthonios' plan.
Thank you, K'nekotein. I believe I can shed some light on the nature of our foe. When Hesperos spoke with us, I noticed he bore the telltale fangs of the Vryglaikers, a beast which feeds off the ether of its prey. Likely that is the creation Hesperos merged his essence with.
And we know all too well that he can change the environment around himself at will. The battle will not be an easy one, but I believe in our victory. He called himself a Hemitheos, and claimed immortality. I know not how he discovered this dark art, but his actions do not bespeak a sound mind.
That Hesperos possessed such a lust for power that he would resort to this. Clearly I misjudged him. I'd like nothing more than to strike him down myself, but seeing you, why, that arrogant grin off his face will taste just as sweet.
This moment, to witness the full level of the Hemitheos' power. There is but one master in Asphodelos. These balls are my domain. affectation, I assure you.
Hesperos. Why? We only need seal him away.
Now, Themis. We end this here.
Fools. I will not be put in chains. To think that I would fall before one such as you. Perhaps I should have treated you as more than a mere nuisance. Despite your victory, you shall never have the knowledge you seek. The secrets of my transformation, the secrets of my deception, they shall return to the star with me.
You are wasting your breath, Hesperos. We have the upper hand now, surely you can see that.
Yes, yes. My repertoire is not exhausted yet, however. Although I have failed, my end shall be on my terms. I remain loyal to my very last. Come what may, I die, with dignity.
How did your ambition lead you so astray, Hesperos? You were better than that. Your star shone more brightly than any other in Pandaemonium. You had La Habria's respect, his trust. What more did you seek? That you would forsake all that, and sully your legacy besides.
He became so blinded by his own desires that he lost sight of his duty. In the end, he lost everything, and his plans lie in tatters. I fail to see any dignity in that.
Even so, I would have liked to know why he chose this path.
Hesperos' infatuation with your father was his undoing. Perhaps he was jealous that fate had chosen you, and not him, to be La Habria's son. So terrible did this jealousy become that he sought forbidden power, power that La Habria would be unable to ignore.
How does a pursuit for respect warp one's heart so? How does infatuation with one person turn into contempt for everyone else? I've never heard of such a thing. I see. I admit I cannot but find it vexing, but perhaps that signifies naught but my own capacity for bitterness. I do understand what it is to have a beacon to follow in dark times, a person you trust to guide you true. How it is to desperately wish their light would fall upon you again. But we have spent enough time assuming the intentions of the departed, there are the living to consider. We must find the other warders, and round up the remaining creations forthwith. Of that, at least, we can be certain.
I believe I can be of help in that matter. The influence of Hesperos' magic is fading throughout Asphodelos. Now is the perfect opportunity to seize control of the facilities and restore things to their original state.
Seize control. Can you really do that?
What? What is this presence? Erichthonios. What lies beyond that threshold?
That's the passage which connects Asphodelos to Abyssos. Why?
Be on your guard, you two. Now that Asphodelos is free of obstructions, I can more easily sense disturbances in the lower levels. Something stirs in Abyssos.
A warding sigil? How?
Let us return to the gates for now. I should like to appraise the situation from there. Needless to say, our investigation is far from over.
Just when I had thought our work to be done, did this tragedy unfold all throughout Pandaemonium?
Although we have defeated Hesperos, it appears we have but scratched the surface of Pandaemonium's troubles.
My head is still swimming with questions, but could this mean that Hesperos wasn't actually behind this?
It is a stark possibility, yes. The root of this crisis may lie somewhere much deeper than even Abyssos. When we first encountered you, you said the memories of your escape were vague and that your senses were muddled. I believe this was more than the result of a panicked mind. You were made to feel this way by a powerful magical influence. It is possible that this same magic could have poisoned Hesperos' heart, twisting his affection for La Havria into a burning obsession. Then, in his altered state, he was made an offer of power he could not refuse.
Wait. Are you suggesting that someone else turned Hesperos into that thing? If so, it stands to reason that they wouldn't stop at him.
Indeed. Our mysterious mastermind does not lack for subjects for his experiments. For more potential hemitheoi.
If what you're saying is true, then my colleagues, they are doomed to share the same fate as Hesperos.
Do not lose heart yet, Erichthonios. Hesperos challenged us alone, and that tells me that the process of his creation was a long and taxing one. If he was the first Hemitheos, then the rest of the warders are likely still alive. However, much as I would like to hasten deeper into Pandaemonium, the way forward is sealed off. We must focus our efforts on finding a way through.
With the creations still having free reign of Asphodelos, that won't be easy.
On the contrary, I yet retain control of these circles, and thus can wield interment magic within their halls at will. The creatures will pose no threat to us.
Just like that. Then nothing's stopping us from returning order to Asphodelos.
Just so. I shall require your expertise to keep the peace after the subjects have been returned to their confinement, however. You are Asphodelos' sole remaining warder, after all. Truth be told, I did not expect this investigation to become so involved. Of course, I would like to resolve matters here without resorting to outside help, but...
Do you mean to send a report to La Habrea?
"'Tis too soon to say. Let us first find a way into Abyssos. It would be best to withhold our judgment until we have ascertained the whereabouts of the other warders and the identity of the party responsible for their disappearance."
Agreed. Even so, if it means saving even a single life within Pandaemonium, then I'm not above asking La Habrea for help, should it come to that.
Recent discoveries certainly paint Hesperos' actions in a new light. The number of unknown elements in this investigation grows, and we must proceed forward with the utmost caution. To that end, Erichthonios and I shall remain here for the time being. Much as I enjoy your company, I do not believe we shall be needing protection so long as we remain in Asphodelos.
You should take this time to rest. Surely you are weary, and there may be more battles ahead of us. Themis' burden may grow heavier in your absence, but he's shown that he's more than capable to bear it. Still, I would help wheresoever I'm able. All we've achieved so far has been thanks to you too, and I mean to repay the debt I owe. I don't know what use I can be outside of placating the creatures, but I'll find a way.
Nonsense, you owe us nothing. It was thanks to your knowledge of the magics which govern this place that we were able to come this far. Elsewise we would have likely succumbed to the hippocampost's assault. Each of us has arrived at this dire pass by separate paths, but it is only by combining our respective expertise that we will reach the end of it and see Pandaemonium saved.
Thank you, Themis. Hesperos' words seem to have affected me more than I realize. Together we've come this far, and together we'll reach the end.
I have no doubt we will. Even so, let us allow K'nekotein her rest. Besides, you have someone awaiting a report on your progress, yes. I dare say your story will be much more than they ever imagined. My friend would be very curious to hear what has occurred here. However, I fear that if I left Pandaemonium, the wards protecting it would quickly deteriorate. I hope she does not mind assuming some of my duties in the meantime.
Ah, so you don't serve the convocation. I suppose I needn't worry about you going behind our backs to curry favor with La Habrea.
Professor Claudien has tasked me with recording the ethereal signatures of each and every crystal in his recent orders. As a lowly assistant, I'm honored to be given such an enormous and monumental assignment.
At the professor's behest, we have kept our reports on recent events as vague as we can manage. Even if we wished to do otherwise, not much of note has transpired here as of late.
Welcome, K'nekotein. Back from the past, none the worse for wear, I see. So, what did you find? So there is evil afoot in Pandaemonium, an already ominous place, I must say. Mythic beasts and missing warders. Truly, we are fortunate to see you return to us in one piece.
It appears the voice K'nekotein heard from the crystal spoke the truth. As for who left it behind, and why, those are yet questions to be answered.
Indeed. It could be someone who lived among the ancients, or it could be someone trying to avert a tragedy from the future. Much remains shrouded in mystery. Yet ILM by ILM, we shall unveil that mystery. With the help of K'nekotein, of course. By her actions was the fabric of the past reshaped, yet she returns to the same present she left. Which can only mean one thing, that her intervention in Pandaemonium's crisis is but one of the countless building blocks of history upon which our present has been built. There is no telling what consequences would arise if we stop pursuing this matter now. Whatever plot is unraveling within Pandaemonium, we must not let it reach its conclusion. If one of those creatures should escape, what ripples would carry forth to the future? They might wreak havoc upon the world of the ancients, and their despair would leave an indelible mark upon history's pages. That despair would only feed the terrible beasts that arose during the final days. The first final days already had a drastic effect on the eons that followed. If the scars it left were made even deeper, then we risk losing our present entirely. Whatever the cost, our connection with the future of Elpis must be preserved. I know I have asked much of you already, but can I count on you to continue your work in Pandaemonium? Your tireless efforts are much appreciated. If there is aught we can do to ease your burden, you need only say the word. Speaking of which, might you return the crystal into our keeping? While we cannot accompany you to the past, perhaps something can be gained by researching it further. Ah, it shines just as splendidly as the day we met. We shall begin work right away, but I cannot promise any meaningful results for some time. And as matters in Elpis seem to be in a similar state, I must ask that you rest. But before that, allow me to make an introduction. As our research moves into its critical stage, I found it only suitable to recruit another assistant. Miqo'te is an expert in armaments from throughout history, be they from the far-flung past or made in the most modern forges. Should you find aught of interest in your adventures, bring it here and she will be glad to offer her services. We know researchers in numerous fields that would love to get their hands on artifacts from bygone eras, and would give you goods in return that should aid you in trials ahead. Furthermore, if you ever wish to peruse the records of events you have reported here, Miqo'te has been taking faithful and thorough notes. She is at your complete disposal. I sense that we have embarked upon something monumental. something that will dwarf all else I have accomplished in my many years of research. I can think of no greater honor, nor reassurance, than to have your capable assistance in this endeavor. If there is anything to be found that will contribute to your success, we shall find it. We shall not rest until we have unlocked the mysteries of this crystal. And you will be the first to know when we do.